In this video, we'll talk about how to do synthetic division. So let's say we have this expression, 2x cubed plus x squared minus 13x plus 6, all of that divided by x minus 2. So how can we perform this division? Well, we can use something called synthetic division, and that's where we draw half a box like this, and then we put some number right here. So the number that we put right there will be whatever number makes the denominator equal to 0. So our denominator is x minus 2. What value for x could we plug in here to make this expression equal to 0? Well, that would just be 2, because if we had a 2 for x, 2 minus 2 is 0. So we're going to put a 2 right here in this top left corner. And now what we do is we just write the coefficients of the numerator right here in a straight line. So the first one we have is 2, 2x cubed. And then we have a 1 for the x squared. And then we have a negative 13. And then we have a 6. So the way we do synthetic division is we start by bringing down the first number, so that's a 2, and then we multiply this 2 by whatever we put in the top left corner here, so 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. We write that 4 under this next term right here, and then we add straight down, so 1 plus 4, that's 5. And then we repeat the process, so 5 times 2 is 10. So we write a 10, and then we add again, so negative 13 plus 10, that's negative 3. And then we multiply again. Negative 3 times 2, that's negative 6. So 6 plus a negative 6, that's 0. So we're done. So our final answer will be 2x, and the exponent that we use will be 1 less than this exponent. So instead of a 3, we write a 2. 2x squared, and then we've got plus 5x minus 3. So this is our final answer. This big expression divided by x minus 2 is equal to 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. All right, let's try another example. Let's say we have x to the 4th minus 5x squared plus 8x minus 6 divided by x minus 3. So let's use synthetic division once again to perform this division problem. So the number that we put up here in the top left corner, that's going to be whatever number makes the denominator equal to 0. So the denominator is x minus 3. What value of x would make this equal to 0? Well, that would just be 3. So we'll put a 3 right here. And now once again, we'll just write the coefficients of the numerator in a straight line across here. So the first coefficient is a 1, so 1x to the 4th. Now, this is a little tricky because notice that there is no x to the 3rd here in between this x to the 4th and x squared. So we need to put a 0 in there as a placeholder. Okay, and then we can write our next coefficient, that's a negative 5. And then we have an 8. And then we have a negative 6. So once again, to perform synthetic division, we'll bring down the first number, that's a 1. And then we'll multiply this number by whatever we put up here in the top left corner. So 1 times 3, that's 3. So we'll write that right here. And then we add, so 0 plus 3 is 3. And then we multiply once again, 3 times 3, that's 9. We'll put the 9 right here. And then we add negative 5 plus 9, that's a positive 4. And then we multiply, 4 times 3, that's 12. We'll write it right here. 8 plus 12, that's 20. And 20 times 3, that's 60. So negative 6 plus 60, that's 54. Okay, so our final answer will be 1x, and remember we write, when we had an x to the 4th right here in the numerator, we write 1 less than this exponent. So instead of x to the 4th, we have x to the 3rd. And then we've got plus 3x squared plus 4x plus 20. And now notice this last term that we got is not a 0. So what that means is this is the remainder that we have from this division problem. So we write this remainder of 54 over what we attempted to divide by. So we attempted to divide by x minus 3. So we'll write 54 over x minus 3. And that will be our final answer. All right, let's try one more example. Let's say we have 3x cubed minus 8 divided by x plus 2. So let's use synthetic division to perform this division problem. So remember, we put some number up here in the top left corner, and that's going to be whatever makes the denominator equal to 0. Well, in this case, if we plug in a negative 2 for x, this denominator, this whole expression right here would be equal to 0. So we're going to use a negative 2 up here in the top left corner. And now we write the coefficients of the numerator straight across in a line. So we have 3, and now this one's a little tricky too. Notice there is no x squared term in this numerator. So we just have to put a 0 as a placeholder. And then notice there's no x term either. So we also have to put in a placeholder for that. So we have to put in another 0. And then we've got 8. So let's perform synthetic division. Let's bring down the first number. So 3, and then we'll do 3 times whatever we have up here in the top left corner. So 3 times negative 2, that's negative 6. And then we add straight down. So 0 plus a negative 6, that's negative 6. Now negative 6 times negative 2, that's a positive 12. Then we have 0 plus 12, that's 12. And then we do 12 times negative 2, that's negative 24. So an 8 and a negative 24, excuse me, this should be a negative 8 because this is a negative sign right here. So negative 8 minus 24, that's negative 32. Okay, so our final answer will be 3x. And remember, this first term will have an exponent that is 1 less than the original exponent. So instead of a 3, we're going to write a 2. 3x squared minus 6x plus 12. And once again, we have a remainder. Since this last value down here is not equal to 0, that means it's a remainder. So we have to write this remainder over the thing that we tried to divide by. So we tried to divide by x plus 2. So we'll write 32 over x plus 2. And that is our final answer.